Anybody that's ever argued on social media, you think, hey, I'm going to present facts and figures. I'll send videos. I've done this many, many, many times. You think, oh, they'll watch this video, and whether it's, the leaders of Hamas stating what their open goals are, when you got some idiot going, free Gaza, they're innocent. And then you send them the video of the leaders of Hamas basically saying, like, we're not from Palestine. We're from Saudi Arabia. We're from Jordan. We're from Kuwait. We're Arabs. We didn't come from this land, but we're here to conquer, basically. From the river to the sea. What that means is they're not interested in a two-state solution. They want all of Israel. They want the whole area to be part of the caliphate, and the nation of Israel is standing in the way. And so they want to kill all Israelis. And what most people don't know, especially people on the left, is Israel is 20% Arab Muslim. And the Arab Muslims also serve in the IDF. So when they say Israel is perpetuating a genocide, you have Arab Muslims and Jews working together, along with Christians and Druze that are from Israel, to fight the Palestinians. And what's interesting is the Hamas just released figures. They said there are 58,000, I guess, what you call it, families or widows that they're paying. So the way Hamas works is, if your son or your father, dies in battle for Hamas, then they will, every month, they will give your widow or your family a stipend for the loss of you. And so when they admit that 58,000 people, Hamas members, have been killed in the war, because, it's a genocide. It's the only kids that get killed are basically typically the children of the members of Hamas, or there are cases where, because what Israel does when they're going to do an operation in an area, or they're going to bomb a building, when they bomb a building, they do what's called a knock, where they drop this big, heavy satchel on the roof of the building. And that basically says, when that happens and it makes this loud boom, it's basically and then they also robocall all the phone numbers in the building and say, in 30 minutes, this building is getting blown up. For your own safety, please leave. And they also drop leaflets, and they show them where to go. They show them where the safe corridors are. And they say, we're going to do an operation here. If you're not part of Hamas, this is where you need to go. And oftentimes Hamas will shoot the Palestinians, when they're their own people, when they're trying to leave, because they want them to stay there and get killed, so then they can go to the news and go, oh, look, they killed all these innocent people. And so it's Hamas that's doing this. But again, you got the left-leaning media, and you got a bunch of ignorant jackasses that just read their teleprompter, and they have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea history. They have no idea what's actually happening over there. They just read what's on their teleprompter, and they think they're all a bunch of brainiacs. And the average low-information voter that watches this, that's why they run around and they go, oh, free Gaza. And to globalize the intifada. Globalize the intifada means basically they're for a global caliphate, and you either become Muslim like them, adopt the same belief system, you pay the jizya, which means they're supposed to protect you until they decide they want to kill you anyways. And if you don't like any of those, they kill you. And when you look at Mosul in Iraq, when there's still plenty of Jews and Christians that lived in Mosul in Iraq. And when ISIS took over, what was shocking to the Christians and the Jews and the Druze and the Yazidis that lived there was their neighbors turned on them. These were people that their kids played with, that they did barbecues with and hung out with and celebrated holidays with. And as soon as ISIS came in, they came over next door, raped their wives, raped their daughters, took their property, killed them, did whatever they wanted. And they were like, well, this is my religion. Now we're in the majority. Now we have the strength. So now we can do what we really want to do. But, again, people on the left, they don't know this stuff. They just screech Islamophobia, and they think the Palestinians are a bunch of victims, when in reality, they're basically ISIS. So this tweet from Hegel Borg: I have a mental illness that makes me think that people will change their minds if I present the correct arguments with the appropriate facts and data. That's one of the things that Yuri Bezmenov said. When somebody has been demoralized by communist ideological subversion propaganda, facts, data, true information, they will refuse to believe it. And so I've had this experience many times when I post the videos that prove, because it's in the words of the Hamas members or the Palestinians and what they really believe, they either ridicule it and joke, or they just completely ignore it and they just stop conversing. They just basically run away from the conversation. Oh, this is the one from New York. We gotta watch this one. This is insane. So this just happened last week or the week before. Again, this is what these people believe. This is Mandami. He's the one that gave them the permit to basically take over Times Square, and this guy's out there blasting on his intercom. We're taking over, and there's not. We're taking over New York, and we're conquering New York, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Giving that, yo, make some noise from the bottom of the water right now, baby. Oh, don't scare me.
ISIS in Times Square.
They're over here on purpose to be like, oh my God. You've seen those videos where they're like, oh my God, the Muslims are taking over New York. So you've seen those? You've seen those? Let them know that we are taking over New York City. Oh my God. Giving that, yo, make some noise from.
Kind of
Well, when somebody tells you who they are, you should believe them. They're not here to coexist. They're not here to assimilate. They're not here to become self-reliant Americans. They believe they're here to conquer and take over our country. And they're nice now, but once they get in the majority, that's when they start slaughtering people. Yeah, let's do this one. This is a good clip to follow that other one up with. So this is Gad Sad. I think I pronounced his name right. So he's kind of jousting with Piers Morgan. I think the full interview is like 30 minutes. And he's calling out what's going on in the UK. And obviously Piers Morgan lives in a gated community and he's a liberal and he just refuses to believe this is happening.
Okay, because the strategic template on which Islam has operated is when in the minority, act meek and like a victim. But when in the majority, smite at the neck and show no mercy. That's why I drew the earlier analogy with shingles. It takes a tipping point in numbers for some of the things that you're not yet worried about to materialize, right? Okay.
So that's basically the guy in Times Square. They're nice, like, oh, we just want to be able to practice our religion, but you know, when they take over Times Square like that and you got a Muslim mayor, they believe that they are winning and they are going to completely take over. And so that's how they operate. And I mean, it's the way it is. You can't allow that ideology to run rampant because, you know, this is Liz Truss, who was, let's see, she's 2 prime ministers ago, I think it was. She was only prime minister for, I think, she didn't make it a full year and she got run out of office. But again, this was the former leader of the United Kingdom, Great Britain. And just in the past, I think, what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, she was the prime minister. So let's hear what she has to say about what's going on in her country and the rest of Europe.
And what I am saying is unless we get a grip and change the way our countries work, the West will be finished in 10 years. And what do I mean by that? I mean, we have been threatened by left-wing ideology, whether it's excessive government spending, whether it's net zero ideology, whether it's things like DEI and ESG, whether it's Islamism. All of these things have conspired to hollow out our countries, to stagnate our growth, but also to present real threats to the way of life in the West. And you know, I am a Trump supporter. I think that Trump getting elected last year was the first domino to be falling in the right direction in terms of saving the West, because otherwise I think that we will see China and radical Islam, two terrible partners, win against the West. That is the threat we face.
So this is pretty crazy. We've got about 40 to 50% of our deployable air power in the world in the Middle East right now. Half of our Air Force is there. And I just also was reading an article during lunch that the Chinese have, you know, been flying their military transports into Iran. And it looks like they've delivered some of their most advanced missiles that are designed to destroy our flat tops, our aircraft carriers, and some other weapons they've flown in there. And they also, open source, have said, hey, here's where all the Americans' F-22s are. Here's the numbers in the tail. Here's where all the ships are. And it's like all of our ships are out in the ocean now, or out in the sea. So, I mean, I would think within the next week or so. I mean, Trump said, you know, 7 to 10 days. If the Iranians don't make a deal and agree to all of our conditions and basically surrender to what we want, we're going to basically take out the regime. So that's pretty crazy. The last time we had that much air power was during the second Gulf War in, was it 2003? I believe this is, oh, this is Rupert Lowe. This is the guy that Tommy Robinson was talking about.
To the young white men who feel ignored and insulted, I want to speak directly to you. For too long, young white men in this country have been treated as if your concerns don't matter. Your struggles don't count. Your identity is something to apologize for. That your love of your country is somehow racist and wrong. You've been told to stay quiet, to step aside, to accept being blamed for things you never did and problems that you didn't create. Let me be clear. There is nothing wrong with being white. There is nothing wrong with being a man. There is nothing wrong with being straight. You are not the problem. The system is the problem. The cancer of DEI, along with the Blairite legacy, must be eradicated and erased from our society. Britain needs strong, grounded, responsible men.
Yep.
Men and women who work hard, protect their communities, build their families, and stand firm in their values. And despite what some might tell you, there's nothing shameful about wanting to be that person. We should be unapologetic in our promotion of those ideals. I say to you today, keep going. It will get better.
Yeah, I thought it was just me that I see like a lot of like because of how like our society has been like over the years, like just being like a simple straight white person is apparently like a crime now if you're not like how everyone else is.
Yeah, you're supposed to just shut up and,
Yeah.
you know, you're racist if you don't like what they're doing to your country and all these people they're importing.
Yeah.
But if everyone tells you that, literally just tell them to shut up and just don't listen to them.
I mean, when you look at the Somalis, they're like, oh, they've contributed so much to our society. And people are going, well, why are 80% of them that have been here for 10 years or more still on welfare?
Yeah.
They're not contributing shit. They're fleecing us. To them, it's the jizya. In other words, we're paying them to be second-class citizens. That's why they don't care. They don't look at it as fraud. They look at it as their religion entitles them to it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're basically paying to breed a population that is hostile towards its own citizens. And these people don't share our values. I mean, Ilhan Omar, her family was part of the genocidal elite that fled Somalia because they lost. Her dad was a general that slaughtered other Somalians. And they fled to the United States, and we gave them safety and comfort here, and look how the bitch repays us. It's like, they should denaturalize that bitch and send her back to Somalia and let her fix her own fucking country. She has no intention. She doesn't share our values at all.